Do you want to lead a profitable advertising strategy rather than micromanage it? Do you want to take the guesswork out of PPC or expand your advertising in other countries and languages? Then you're in the right place. At Databrill, our team of technical marketers and data scientists have poured years of experience into building the most powerful international automation tools for Amazon-sponsored ads. Our tools can handle large accounts with thousands of ad campaigns and millions of keywords across many languages. The total result is increased sales and reduced ACOS. And in contrast to most agencies, our pricing is based on an inexpensive flat rate. So get in touch today. Visit sellersessions.com/agency for more details.
Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, we bring back Will Tjernlund. Hey Will, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing, Danny?
Yeah, good. Okay, so today let's have a chat about the Canton Fair. Let's talk about Hong Kong. Funny enough, that's where me and you met in 2016, I think it was, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking 2015, 2016, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think, it was April 2016. We were both speaking at the Global Sources Show. Mm-hmm. And is that the first time you met Anthony Lee as well?
Yeah, that's the first time Anthony Lee had ever left the country.
That's right.
He had only been in U.S. his whole life, and so I hope Anthony doesn't mind me embarrassing him. But it was funny because I was talking to Peter Zapp, who was the CIO, I don't know if he still is, at Global Sources, and he was saying he talked to Anthony, and Anthony got to his hotel in Hong Kong and said, "What do I do? The power's out." And Peter informed him that he has to put his card in the card reader in the hotel room to get the electricity to work.
Jesus.
And so, yeah, that's just shows how far Anthony Lee's come, because now he lives in Taipei.
Yes.
And so, he's gone from, so if any of you guys are out there are scared of traveling, scared of going to China, know that Anthony Lee left the country for the first time, 18 months, 2 years ago, and now he lives there full time and loves it. So that's kind of a success story of traveling. So question to start off the bat, what's it like to get a Chinese visa if you're from the UK?
Yeah, that's a good point. So Chinese visa from the UK, you have to go to the visa office. You can decide on like a short-term or a longer-term visa. I normally get a 2-year business visa. I send my passport off, costs about £265. Now, you can go and queue up. I know people that left it really late who lived in London and then travelled up to Manchester, or they weren't going to be able to fly in time and get their passport back.
Yeah, on the U.S. side, I've kind of always done it last minute. So I live in Minnesota, and the nearest consulate is Chicago. So I have to mail my passport down to Chicago, pay them the money, and then it comes back in 2 to 3 weeks. And so that's too long for me to not have my passport since I'm always traveling. And so the way I've done it in the past, and here's a quick little story. I was in Hong Kong with my business partner. And the way I had done it in the past was I went to the visa office in the Hong Kong airport, since U.S. citizens don't need a visa for Hong Kong, hand my passport off to someone there, and they say, come back in 2 days, and we'll give you a 6-month visa. And so we went there and we said, okay, well, we want to pay, instead of, I think it's like $150 for the 6-month visa, we wanted to get the $500 10-year visa that I think only U.S. citizens can get a 10-year visa. And we turn in our passports, we go explore Hong Kong for a couple of days, we come back, and my business partner's visa had been declined. They said that his passport was too dirty, like physical dirt on the passport. And so I called around, asked around, and we ended up going to a different guy who was in a tower right by the central station in Hong Kong. And he got our 10-year visa for $500, and he turned around our visas and gave them back to us like 3 hours later.
Yeah, no, that does sound a bit painful. I mean, me and you have been over numerous times now. The one other thing about the UK is you can't get direct flights to Guangzhou if you want to go to the Canton Fair. So it does make sense that if you're going to fly in and you've got to work out which of the phases you want to go to the Canton Fair. So you might got phase 1, 2, and 3. In between that, the phases, they shut down. So you want to plan your trips to work around those closed down phases. So you might not go to phase 1 and might be interested in phase 2. So you might land in Hong Kong first, the week before phase 2 starts, and then you do phase 2, and then there'll be other events going on after. So it does pay dividends to pre-plan this. So some of the good things to look at is that you'll go to HKTDC show or the mega show. It depends on what time of the year, but that's over on Hong Kong Island. So that's normally on. And then you've got the Global Sources show, so you can walk the show. And obviously there's a Global Sources event and the meetup. So always make sure that you plan prior to that. And a lot of people also do their own little meetups, like we put our own events on there. Just make sure that you decide to stay in the right place. So if you're going to be at the trade show all the time and you're going to be going to the Global Sources events and things like that, it does pay to stay at the Regal because it's right in the airport, and the airport is very close to where the main events are. It's only when you want to go out and you want to go down to Kowloon or you want to go down to Hong Kong Island, you're going to be traveling on the trains, and that could take 30, 40 minutes at a time.
Yeah, it takes about 45 minutes.
So last time when I was over in October, I just stayed in the Regal, and I only had to go out to Hong Kong Island once because I went to, I think it was the Mega Show at that point.
No, and it's definitely kind of just what your taste is too. Because if you're in Hong Kong for the first time, like I might just suggest going in Central regardless if you're going to be at Regal the whole time, just so you can see stuff and get around and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, me and you being veterans of the whole Hong Kong to China thing, it's like, yeah, make my life easy. Stay at the Regal. Take the train straight from the airport to the big station in Hong Kong. You can take the train straight to Guangzhou from there. And so, but yeah, you bring up a great point of kind of like, if you're going to be going to China and you have the kind of means and the availability, you might want to go for like 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Between Hong Kong to then traveling to Guangzhou, and then after you go to the Guangzhou, in between sessions, you might want to be visiting the different factories, which might not be right next to Guangzhou, might be an hour out. And then you're also going to be wanting to do the different meetups during the Canton Fair, because you have to remember that everyone's basically in the same position as you are. They're going to want to work from, say, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and doing all the China stuff they can. But after 3 p.m., 4 p.m., everyone's going to want to go kick their feet up for a couple hours, and then it's going to be looking for something to do. And so like Danny's done in the past and like Chris Davies done still continuously, there's going to be a ton of different meetups scheduled all the time because everyone's looking for something to do. Everyone wants to talk about Amazon. How can we like meet up and kind of group everyone together to make sure everyone kind of has the best time possible, learns as much, and meets as many people as possible?
Yeah, and you pointed out another thing is about meeting your suppliers. So you want to make the most of the visit. So let's just say you went to Canton Phase 1. You might come in through Hong Kong, and then you've got a 3-hour train to Guangzhou to your hotel. One warning I will say as well, the first time I'd done it, I went with Airbnb. We went ghetto style. So we're in the middle of nowhere, and absolutely no one in China speaks English. And I mean no one. I nearly cried. On the first day, we were had to go to the Canton Fair, and we got there 3 hours later because it took that long to walk the streets to get the cab. It was only until I got to the point where I text the guy who spoke English, was the guy at Airbnb. He actually sent me the Chinese writing, and that is the only way that we got to the fair. So that was a complete nightmare at the very beginning, right? So I'd always say to people, don't do the ghetto thing. Go and stay in a proper hotel. Yes, it's going to be a bit more expensive, but I was out in the suburbs and we were taking the train. We had one of those, in the UK, we call them Oyster cards. Over there, you've got the octopus cards where you can top them up at a 7-Eleven. There is literally a 7-Eleven everywhere. Make sure you get a hotel sorted where it's English speaking and there's shuttles that take you to the venue.
Yeah, I think that's the huge point, is the shuttle part. If you can set that up correctly, most hotels that are kind of near the Canton Fair have some sort of shuttle because they know what people are coming in for, and they say, okay, every half hour on the hour, we're having a shuttle going to the Canton Fair, and then here's where our bus parks, and if you want to get a ride home, we're doing rides home starting at 2, 3 p.m., and that can save a lot of time. And the cabs can be kind of a nightmare. There's a huge line. It's all bribery. It's all who wants to pay the cab the most money not to wait in line. And so if you're going to do the cab thing, you might be waiting around for a while to have someone where you don't know kind of the English. And so I kind of skimped the first time I went to the Canton Fair, and it was not preferable. And so if you have the budget, like if you have the money, stay at the Westin.
Yeah.
It'll make your life so easy. It's connected to the Canton Fair. You walk over a little walkway, and it's great. If you have either besides that, or if you have money, stay at the Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton. Yeah. Between the Westin, Four Seasons, and Ritz-Carlton, every single person speaks perfect English. The Ritz-Carlton has a VPN built into it. And so you can use Facebook and everything there. So it's like if you really have the money, it goes a really long way in China compared to maybe just in like New York City or any comparable size city.
Yeah. And the thing is, you're going to set off early in the morning. You're going to hit rush hour. Everyone's pushing on these trains, aren't they? The train stations are packed. It's hot down there. You'll get over to Canton, and then in terms of the complex, and you're going to be walking 6, 7, 8 hours. And so the best thing for there is like your shoes, like a pair of running shoes or something is the best opportunity. I've seen people with shoes, and even I had a decent pair of like baseball boots first time I went. And I remember going into that hotel, the Westin, yeah?
Yeah.
I remember at the end of the day, I was sitting in the Westin. I had a beer in my hand. I was broken. I'm like, I'm not moving for 2 or 3 hours. My feet were covered in blisters. Someone staying at the hotel actually went and got some plasters so I could cover my blisters over just so that I could start walking again. It's really intense, the amount of walking you do, like your knees, your thighs, the backs of your legs, no matter how fit you are.
Well, and it's all on concrete too.
Yeah.
You're basically walking on concrete the whole time, which kind of subtly beats you down. And so everyone knows, before you stress yourself out or anything, trying to overthink it, there is absolutely no dress code at the Canton Fair.
Yeah.
You'll see people wearing tank tops with flip-flops. You'll see people randomly wearing suits. You'll see guys from Africa wearing the traditional African outfits with all the different patterns on it and colors. And so, like, definitely wear comfortable stuff. Realize what the temperature is. It's going to be maybe 78 and humid. And so don't worry about wearing a suit and tie or dress shoes, or if you're a female, like definitely don't try to like go overboard with the shoes. Just wear whatever's most comfortable, because it's going to beat you down. The first time I ever saw those two-wheeled hoverboard scooters was guys traveling around the Canton Fair because they didn't want to walk. Yeah. And so,
it's a good move. I mean, I think people get a lot of misconception. They go for the first time and they're being told, dress smart so people take you seriously. Listen, people will take you seriously. If you're at the Canton Fair and you've got money to spend, these people will take you seriously no matter what you are wearing. The key thing there is people want to do business. And if you show you're willing to do business, they're not going to judge you by the clothes that you're wearing.
Oh, 100%. And they also, people have to remember that like wearing what you want is like something new in the last few decades in China.
Yeah.
And so they don't have like the 200-year history we have in like London and like New York of wearing suits every single day to work.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some stuff like negotiations and stuff like. For me, I don't know about you, but I never talk money while I'm there because these guys are paying for the stand. So I know whatever time they suggest a price for me there and then, it's going to be 20, 30% higher than it will be a month down the road when their Canton Fair fees are covered.
Yeah, no, I do kind of a general like, what does this thing cost? But that's about the most I get into pricing, just because I'm just curious sometimes where it's like, all right, I can't really tell if this thing's going to cost me $1 landed or $4 landed. So I just want to see kind of where they're at. But it's like, if they say $3 a unit, that means just as much to me as when it says $3 a unit on Alibaba.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And in terms of documentation, I think where a lot of people fall over is really knowing how to catalog stuff. I think the first year, I remember coming back to the Airbnb in the evening, and I'm trying to catalog stuff, and I can never remember anything. So now I've got a new system with it. Like I use an application where I can capture the business card, the front of the stand, and then I do a voice recording or a dictation to text. So as I leave the stand, I record all that information as I go. And then when I pull out and open up the app, I can see the train, right, it's this person here, this is the company there. Sometimes I have a photo taken with them, so you do a quick selfie. And basically you build up a picture of that conversation so that in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, you can look at that and you go, yeah, no problem. Because I think a lot of people fall over, they grab cards, they get home and go, who the hell was that? What was the conversation I had? Where is the context, you know?
You know, you nailed it on the head there. You are going to do, like the first time I did the Canton Fair, I went for all 3 phases. And I got home and I was so exhausted. And then you realize that the work's just begun.
Yeah.
Because you have to go and contact and chit chat with all these people. And yeah, you got all excited, but now it's like the real work part, because you're not going to be able to get too much work done in China. The internet's slow. The VPNs really slow it down. And so like you're going to be able to maybe maintain your business, but it's going to be hard to kind of keep the communications going. And so you had a great tip there with like the selfie thing. You not only are you going to go to 1,000 different booths and it's going to be hard to remember them, it's going to be hard for them to remember you. And so if you say, hey, remember me? I'm Danny. Here's a selfie, a picture of us two together. Like that's going to be somewhat alarming. They're going to go, okay, yep, I remember that person. Hey, we talked about this, this, and this. I'm curious what your pricing is and minimum order quantity was for this product. Show another photo that we talked about. And yeah, it's a great way to do it. I've used in the past the just Notes app that's built into iPhone. You can put photos in it. You can format it and all that kind of stuff, and that works well for me. I'm sure there's an Android version, or if you use Evernote or anything like that, they're all great ways to kind of keep track of who you're talking to, and you're going to for sure want to do it digitally. No way you're going to want to like carry on a clipboard writing stuff down. That's ridiculous. And you definitely don't want to have a gift bag with every single brochure of every single person you talk to, because then you're just going to have a big stack of paper you have to fly home with you that's semi-worthless. That's all online.
Is there anything else you use like app-wise?
Yeah, so make sure you have ahead of time like WeChat.
Yeah.
The one time I got screwed because I downloaded WeChat there, and then they had to send me a text message to verify that I'm real, and I couldn't get text messages because I didn't have service. So make sure you have WeChat or WhatsApp. Make sure if you use Gmail as your primary email, I have like another Yahoo email because they don't block Yahoo, that it forwards all my Gmails there. So I have like a second backup of all my emails, even though I don't have them always on me because the Gmail is hard to pull up sometimes in China. Lastly, a great app is Translate. It's made by Microsoft.
Yeah.
The Translate app is amazing. You can download the Chinese language offline, so you don't need internet to use it. And you can like take picture of a menu, and it will decipher the whole menu for you, so you know what's on all the food. It can do the kind of live translating where they talk into it and it converts it into text. You can talk into it and converts it into Chinese. It does everything. I have like 15 different languages downloaded on it at any times. I love the Microsoft Translate app. I think it's by far the best translator app out there.
Cool. In terms of booking hotels, some apps to look at, I'm just pulling up my phone now. So you've got TripAdvisor, you've got Late Rooms, you've got hotels.com, you've got booking.com, you've got Airbnb. These are all apps. There's also Jetlag Rooster as well. So give that a try as well. So it helps you reset your body clock on the way out, because from the UK there, the Chinese are generally 7 or 8 hours ahead, depends on the local time.
Yeah, it's almost exactly 12 for me.
And in terms of the Canton apps I've got on my phone, I've got the Explorer, the Hong Kong Metro Explorer. There's a Guangzhou app, and the VPN that I use every time I go out, because it's very important. Get your VPN sorted before you go. I used ExpressVPN.
I use ExpressVPN also.
Yeah, so some of these companies will do like a 30-day free trial. So set up a trial before you go, but make sure your VPN's in place. And the other thing we haven't talked about is mobile. So if you're passing through, and I found this last time, if you're passing through Hong Kong Airport, there is a place there where you can rent like Wi-Fi devices. So instead of plugging chips into your phone, there's a kiosk there right in the airport as you come out from arrivals from the airport. Kiosk there, it's like $30 for about a week, and that's far better than chasing around trying to get a SIM and putting it in different phones and everything else.
Some other things to think about is how many companies actually Google owns.
Yeah, of course.
Stuff like that. And you rely on that even if you have service. And so that's going to be one more kind of miserable thing to kind of have to deal with, but it's not the end of the world once you got to get your bearings straight. But overall, I think that if you have the Translate apps, you got the everything kind of situated ahead of time, it's not nearly as bad. When I had to buy a VPN when I was in China, because I was, again, just wasn't thinking to the last second. And I had to buy it with Bitcoin back in 2014. Because all my credit card processors kept canceling it because it said, like, I don't see this transaction from China. This doesn't make sense. Yeah. And so, I had to use Bitcoin to buy a VPN. And so, it's make sure you figure that out ahead of time, because most people don't have Bitcoin handy to spend.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, the thing about the Canton Fair is huge. It's like 26 soccer fields or whatever they said it was. It might be NFL stadiums. I'm not sure. But it's huge. So the best thing to do is go to the website, the Canton website, and download the planner a couple of weeks beforehand and work out where you want to go, because everything's blocked out in levels. And like Will, it's huge, and they're in zones, aren't they? You've got to decide is the what zones you want to go to and why. Home and kitchen maybe have like tons of floors with the same products over and over by different sellers. But I remember last time I went there, pets was like half of the area of the floor on the second floor in zone D or something like that, which was miles away. So you're best to plan exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, the way I split it up specifically for like phase two, phase one is building materials in general and building and like housing stuff. Phase two is toys and gifts, which kind of like, and like household products, which kind of covers everything. And phase three is like fabrics and linens and textiles for the most part. But so phase two is usually the best kind of like Amazon product phase. And usually the way I do it is I kind of slowly snake my way through it. And then the way it's a one long building, and then it has a walkway halfway through it to have to a slightly shorter building. And I tend to use the slightly shorter building, which is usually filled as toys, as kind of like my break area. And so I will go through, look at a bunch of different kitchen accessories, look at those for an hour, and then head over to the toy area, play with toys and see all the goofy stuff over there for a half hour, and then go back to kind of the business stuff. And I use kind of the toy area as a place for me to kind of like relax and look at fun stuff, because I'm most likely not going to source any like robotic horse that walks around that you can ride, or I'm not going to buy any VR machine or anything like the toys, but they're always just kind of fun stuff to see. And so it kind of breaks up the monotony of just looking at booths for 8 hours a day for whatever, 3 weeks straight.
So one of the other things I wanted to cover is I want to just round on these points here. So we've discussed arranging the visa. We've discussed the hotel thing. We've talked about apps. We've talked about getting around Hong Kong and that you should include it. If you're from the UK, the chances of going direct to Guangzhou is going to be difficult. From my knowledge, you can't fly directly there, so you go in through Hong Kong. So you've got to look at different ways of getting across the border. Now, you had a problem as well. And the first time I went over, I had the same problem. So I tried to book myself a train from the UK, China to Hong Kong, because we went phase one, Hong Kong, back to phase two, then back to Hong Kong to fly home. If you can find a way of starting your process into Hong Kong and go from Hong Kong into China and then back again, instead of getting a train across over to Shenzhen, which is quite short, it's only like 40 minutes or so, I'm going to take a car. So there's a car service where you can literally book them and then because you've got to do your visa thing and get out the car, etc. So if you've just been on the back of a long flight, it's a couple of $100, I think. But that's what my plan is, because of the late night flights, to go in that way and then come back out again.
Yeah, it's basically anything but a vacation.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it's a grind, and it's like a grind traveling and going. But like, if you can set it up properly and you only have a week you can take off or whatever, you can set it up pretty good where you go, phase two, take the train into Shenzhen, go meet a couple suppliers, go to the cross-border summit, take the train over to Mega, and then get home whatever that next Sunday. And you went to 3 cities in China, got to meet 100 different suppliers, talk to a bunch of Amazon people. Like, it'll be a pretty crazy week, but yeah, you'll be very enjoyable for sure.
One of the best parts of it is meeting new people and attending the meetups in the evening. So if you do have WeChat set up, quite often you'll meet people and say, "Oh, were you in this group?" And it kind of spreads, doesn't it? So suddenly there's a point of communication. Everyone uses WeChat, and there's always a lot of dinners going on. There's meetups. So look up Chris Davies meetup, FBA for you. So, Will, is there anything else you want to add?
No, just go do it and have fun. I talk to people all the time. They're saying, "Hey, I'm looking to get ahead. I'm looking to cut time. I'm looking to get where I want to be 6 months from now, but I want to be there tomorrow. How do I do that?" And the number one answer is go to China and figure it out. If you spend $2,500 where between hotel and flights, and you can't make the $2,500 back from the people you met and the sourcing that you did and all that type of stuff, then probably this Amazon thing isn't for you.
Yes, if you want to get tickets as well to the Cross Border Summit, just go to crossbordersummit.com. I'm speaking there, Will's speaking there. We've got Brian Johnson coming over. We've got Anthony Lee, and there's a host of Chinese sellers and public speakers there as well.
Yeah, it was. We went to kind of like a mini version of it this last October, and it was awesome. Rarely do you get to speak kind of like about Amazon with other like Chinese manufacturers who get like the whole Amazon process too. It's interesting to kind of see a whole different world and get to experience the whole new revolution of M2C that we're really kind of, Michael Michelini is really trying to kind of push forward with this conference where, hey, yeah, B2C was of the last 100 years. It's slowly moved into B2C, where customers are finally getting products straight from the business. But why are they getting it from their business who's just slapping a brand on it from China? Why don't we just buy it straight from the manufacturers, get the best quality for the best price? Interesting kind of thing going on, interesting kind of cutting edge stuff. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. Will, thanks for coming in. Guys, we look forward to seeing you soon. Again, if this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe. Take care.